Skrillex's two recent albums are enticing, intriguing, and why do they sound so good? There are some things that he does that you may need to start implementing right now. And if you want to make songs in his style, you will first of all need a set of helpful tools that will help you dive right into it. That's why, let me introduce to you, a Skrillex-inspired sample pack, Volcano, has been created. We were so inspired by his latest two albums that we decided to create a sample pack in that style to help you dive into it yourself. 490 plus sounds, drums, basses, melodies, effects, everything is inside. Visit oversample.us to purchase the pack, and for the first 50 people who use the code RUMBLE will get a 30% off the whole purchase. Now, let's go with the video. Number 1. His tracks never stop. Skrillex's tracks flow so good that there's no place that you would notice an abrupt change in energy that would kick you out of the experience. Well-produced tracks have their energy changes moving in a very smooth way, and especially in EDM, you don't want to unnecessarily slow down as that could destroy the flow. Instead, you want to keep the energy on a certain level for the duration of the whole song, occasionally introducing small changes that will give your listeners some rest and make them excited when you start building it up again. Here are two versions of the same song with two different energy changes after the drop. The first one goes into the breakdown, and the second one goes into the verse. This change allows a listener to not get bored, and especially in this track, which is the type of song that could be played on repeat over and over again because of its vibe, you don't want to break that loop. Tip number 2, he keeps things simple. Tracks in his albums aren't very complicated, and in fact they're very minimalistic, which is not bad, as they sound great. So to every single one of us, especially EDM producers, maybe it's time for us to stop overthinking and settle for a more minimal mix. Having complex, rich and beefy songs is great, not if you don't release them.
We be the realest team on the billis. Watch out, I kill it, watch out. I speak the kind of beat that go rat-ta-ta.
Perfectionism is something that I'm struggling a lot with myself, and seeing Skrillex have such minimal mixes and such successful albums makes me wonder that maybe I have way too high expectations and it's time to just drop them. I mean, look, as someone who makes complex EDM, all players ready. His songs, especially these two albums, are really minimalistic. It surprises me how little elements he puts in them. Like, you need more elements to fill out the mix. Or do you? I guess not, so simplicity is key. Number 3, he creates weird arrangements. Like this. This one took me a while to figure out. I had no idea what's going on with his arrangement here, and why is this song so offset in different places. Like, why is there 4 repeating pieces and an additional 1, and why is there only 3 instead of 4? After chopping it up, I realized that the additional piece before the first drop is the extra 4 bars of transition.
All of the things that we do.
It's pretty unexpected and it can go unnoticed when you're listening to the song, but that's how it's supposed to work. You're not supposed to notice it. It's supposed to smoothly transition from one part into another. That's what happens. It connects a verse and a drop via a little bridge. So, but now why are there only 3 pieces here instead of 4? We can look at it from 2 different ways. One would be that Skrillex wanted to compensate for the additional piece before, so he removed one from later. Or he created 2 pieces here and added 1 additional transition piece to it, so that now, just like we had before 5 pieces, we have now 3, so uneven numbers. What makes it weird is a 6-bar drum loop. Not 4, not 8, 6. Who does this? And it goes like this.
Can't resist it. Supersonic.
Number 4. He keeps things fairly loud but also dynamic. When you look at the waveforms in Skrillex's songs, you won't see any straight up sausages as in heavier genres like dubstep or trap, but rather a lot of spiky parts. For beginners, the dynamic range is the distance from the loudest part in a song and the quietest. The bigger the distance is, the bigger the dynamic range. In Skrillex's music, the dynamic range is very high, but when we reach the drop, it gets smaller. This is great because it allows Skrillex to preserve a lot of energy, punch and snappiness in drums if he doesn't squash them. At the same time, he heavily limits the drop so it can make it really loud. The basic idea is that the more peaks you cut, the more you will be able to boost the song, the louder it will get. If you want a super loud master, simply limit the peaks. What's amazing about music is that there's no rules, so you can go as low as -1 RMS if that sounds better than any other value. It may get extremely loud, but if it sounds good, keep it. Use your ears more than any other metering system. Skrillex didn't include many peaks in the drop, but we could increase the loudness a little bit more by sacrificing the dynamics. However, let's see if it actually sounds better or worse. After testing, it appears that sacrificing the dynamics for loudness in this particular case sounds worse. Number 5. The rumble bass. I can't not include this in a tutorial about Skrillex, so let's do it. This is a simple yet powerful and popular bass that will make your speakers rumble. And the main idea is to take a low note, for example sine wave, add low pass filter and attach an LFO to the cutoff at 1/16th speed. Finally, add a bit of distortion. Make sure to adjust the LFO shape and the waveform. Add extra effects like OTT to make things snappier, a bit brighter. Also turn down the random knob in the oscillator section, so that the playback always starts from the same position on the waveform to keep the sound consistent. And voila, your bass is complete. This bass will make your speakers rumble and sound like a helicopter. Trick number 6. He creates monophonic vocals. I have not seen anyone making the vocals so monophonic in the mix before. In Stay Here, the vocals sit perfectly in the middle, surrounded by other instruments. There's no width to vocals. There's even a reverb on them, but it also is monophonic. It's as if the vocals were recorded in mono.
Close my eyes, I count to 10, I miss you.
Then a reverb was added on them.
Close my eyes, I count to 10, I miss you.
And then the whole track was down mixed to mono.
Close my eyes, I count to 10, I miss you.
So both left and right channels together, monophonic. Alternatively, it would be better to solo one of the stereo channels, put it in the middle. This prevents any phase issues that would arise from mixing the left and right signal together.
Close my eyes, I count to 10, I miss you. Tell me again, why didn't I follow you?
And to be honest, it sounds great. The instrument spacing is good with vocals and drums in the center, hats on the sides, the atmosphere very wide, filling out the entire stereo field and frequency spectrum, and a flowing bass also wide, contributing to the overall sound. Number 7. My favorite number, and you're probably too. Everybody's favorite number is 7. His tracks flow. The reason his tracks flow so good because he's using a technique called call, Jeff, and response.
What's good, man?
It works like a conversation, which is why it works so effectively. First, you call it with the phrase, Jeff, and then respond with another phrase. What's good, man? How you doing, man? Or as if it was music, you would call with something like this, and respond with something like this. So it's as if two people are talking to each other, ping and pong.
Bounce to the rhythm.
Okay, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna leave you with those 7 tricks, and if you know any other ones, smack a comment and let me know. Don't forget about the Volcano sample pack and a code RUMBLE for the first 50 people for 30% off. I'm signing off. Have a good one. Cheers.